Education Elevation, your monthly radio show dedicated to sharing and celebrating all of the wonderful things happening around NOLA Public Schools. I'm Dr. Avis Williams, the proud superintendent for NOLA Public Schools, and on behalf of the school district and New Orleans Parish School Board, thank you for tuning in. Each month, we feature a variety of guests and make sure we elevate the work of the district that's happening all around our community. And so we're going to get into that, and I'm super excited about the guests that we have today. I want to prime you up for it just a little bit. And so you all know that school has been in session for a few weeks, maybe even as much as 4 weeks for some of our scholars and teachers. And I've definitely enjoyed getting out and visiting our schools and, just connecting with our teachers, leaders, and staff, thanking our teachers for the great job that they're doing. And one thing that I always say is never miss an opportunity to thank a teacher. We are also preparing to kick off our Voices of Future Leaders, which is a podcast as well as a town hall series. And this is just a space where we're very intentional about giving voice to our scholars. Last year, we talked a lot about mental health, even about community violence. And this year, we're really leaning in to look at it from a more world view and talking to our scholars about what would you do if you were in charge of our country, and what is your charge to action in terms of what you would like to see from your peers and even from our adults. So tune in as we uplift our student voices from across our district and just really learn more about what matters most to our young people. So one thing that's really important to me, and I hope it's important to our young people too, especially as it relates to their success in school, is school attendance. And we're going to spend some time today talking about this. And one thing that I always like to lift up is when students attend school regularly, they are more likely to excel. And when we say this, we mean academically, we mean emotionally and socially. And not only that, but they build strong relationships with their teachers, with their peers, which of course is going to support them in terms of social interactions, help prepare them for the workforce, being able to work together and so forth. And it develops habits that are necessary for lifelong success. And we know that when it comes to workforce, oftentimes it's not the technical skills that become a challenge to our young workforce. Sometimes it's some of those other skills around working together, showing up on time. And school attendance can help with that. Missing just 2 days a month, or about 10% of the school year, can lead to chronic absenteeism. And this puts any of our students in a real danger of falling behind. And again, of course, we're talking about academically, but we also mean, in terms of the social and emotional piece. By sixth grade, chronic absence is a leading indicator of whether a student will eventually drop out of school completely. And we know that when we think about K-12 education or pre-K-12 education, we want them to graduate. And, when we know that attending school regularly helps support that. The U.S. Department of Education indicates that students who are chronically absent between 8th and 12th grade are 7.4 times more likely to drop out. And so as we approach September, and September is Attendance Awareness Month, it's really the perfect time for us to recommit and making sure that we're looking at this not only as a school issue, but also as a community issue as we support our scholars. Our year-long campaign is Attend Today, Achieve Tomorrow. And every school day matters, and every absence is a lost opportunity for learning and for growth. And so we're going to dig in. I know y'all tired of hearing me talk, so I've got some special guests. We've got Dr. Jordan, Dr. Perry, and Jaimee McKenzie, who are going to talk to us and take a deeper dive in the work that's happening within our school district around school attendance. And because we know that it is about us working together and us making sure that our strategies are being implemented through partnerships and fostering that family engagement piece. So we've got Dr. Kelli Jordan, who is our Chief of School Support and Improvement, Dr. Shannon Perry, who is our Executive Director for School Attendance. Did I say that right? The Executive Director for School and Attendance.
Student
Support and Attendance. See, we got titles, y'all. Then Jaimee McKenzie, who is our Director of School Attendance. So welcome to you all.
Thank you.
So did I get it all right thus far in terms of what I've said about school attendance?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so y'all know when we talk about looking at things through an equity lens, one of the things I lift up is removing barriers. So first I want to talk about the consequences of irregular school attendance or of chronic absenteeism. But then I also want us to think about what are some barriers, what prevents our students from attending school regularly in the first place. But let's just start off. Why is consistent school attendance important, and what are the long-term consequences of chronic absenteeism?
Sure. I can get us started. I think, some of the immediate kinds of thoughts around consequences, school failure, right? It's obvious. It's the obvious one that if young people don't go to school, if young people aren't able to move through and gain the skills that they need, they won't pass.
Right.
And that's crucial.
Yeah.
You addressed so many of the things early on when you said just life skills, emotional intelligence skills, things like knowing how to follow instructions.
Right.
You can't be on a job and you have a supervisor that asks you to do something and you can't follow instructions.
Yeah,
right?
I love that because, we always talk about college and career readiness. And, one thing I always say is every child needs a career. College is one way to get there. But the bottom line, there are some essential skills
Correct.
that just being in that space can help drive home. So why is chronic absenteeism even a thing? What are the barriers that you guys have seen that keep our scholars from coming to school regularly anyway? What are some of the barriers our kids face?
So transportation is one, and lack of parental involvement and engagement in the school community is another. We see a lot of death and dying here in New Orleans that's impacting our kids. Custody issues, medical is also, and mental health is on the rise here in New Orleans. So some of those are the common barriers that we're seeing with the kids that we are engaging here.
Okay. And, when you think about it like that, this is way more than just school, right?
Yes.
And that's why I emphasize the importance of community and looking at this through the lens of the community support. And I'm glad that you guys are here because we're going to talk in a minute about some of the supports that you all provide to our teams around the things that you're talking about, trauma and mental health and so forth, because those barriers can be impacted if we know about them, right? And it does sound like there's a variety of reasons. So every family is different, and we're certainly not wanting to pigeonhole. But regardless of the family structure, parents and guardians play a role. So how can families ensure regular school attendance, and what are some things that you would encourage our families to do to support?
We can both take it. Parents, we say this all the time, you are your children's first teachers, and they're watching you. They watch from the moment you get up to the moment that you lay down, and you have to speak with them about how important school is. We have to continue to do that. I take it further beyond parents and guardians. It's just adults in the community, to go back to what you and Dr. Jordan have said around our whole community being involved.
Yep.
I was explaining to some of our team members the other day, this young man lives in my neighborhood. I don't know his name. He does not know my name. I saw him as I was loading up the car, walking to the bus stop. I told him, have a wonderful day. He doubled back and looked at me like, do I know you?
Yeah.
And I was like, no, you don't know me, baby. I'm just saying have a wonderful day. And then he walked away.
Yeah.
A couple days later, I saw him. He saw me coming this time. I rolled the window down. He was at the corner. And I said, good morning. I hope you have a wonderful day. And he said, all right, good morning.
I love
and
it.
And every time I see him, I'm going to say that, right?
Yeah.
I don't know his name. At some point, I'm going to learn his name. But I think we all contribute to that.
Yeah.
So parents started, grandparents, aunties, uncles, older cousins, we all started. We have to communicate that this is important.
Absolutely.
This is how you're going to
and just
build.
be encouraging. That smile and just that gentle nudge of have a great day.
That's
that
it.
might have been what set his day
I
off
hope
to
so.
be a
I
great
hope
day,
so.
right? Morning joy, right?
Yes, you do that with us. Absolutely, absolutely.
And that's good though, because I like you lifting up that is family started. And,
Yes.
they are their child's first teacher. So obviously we cannot trivialize or minimize the impact of family. And at the same time that there are so many adults in our children's lives that can have an impact as well. And so when we think about our community, and we talked a little bit about the trauma and things that happen in our community, we also know that there are some socioeconomic impacts within our community where families may be struggling. What are some things that we have noticed in terms of socioeconomic barriers as it relates to school attendance?
So there are a lot of housing issues here in New Orleans, food scarcity, families not able to access quality health care. A lot of the systems offer services, but they're 16-month wait list or 8-month wait list. And so parents are they're not keeping up with that. And then it becomes unrealistic, so it's another barrier. And they're like, I have something else to move on to. It's no longer important. And so they're prioritizing what's important and forgetting the long-term impacts and not getting the kids the help they need.
Yeah. And I'm glad you said it that way, too, because the long-term impacts. Because you're living in the now. You know, if you need food now, if you need to have that utility bill paid now, that's what matters most. And then, again, this is why it has to be a community-wide issue because, you know, as a school system, we may not be the body that helps keep lights on or, you know, directs to certain wraparound services, but certainly we can be a partner in that, and especially if we have the community that has done a wonderful job of reaching out and trying to figure out what are the needs and how can we all jump in because it absolutely matters. You know, I'm a big believer as an educator that culture is everything. And school environment makes a difference. Have you guys seen where you've got certain environments where it seems like maybe kids aren't even thinking about not coming to school? Because we know we get to senior year, senioritis is real, right?
Yes.
And having those senior skip days or whatever the case may be. But what role does school culture or school environment have in school attendance?
A huge role. So New Orleans is built on culture, and school is embedded in our culture here. We take pride in saying, what's the name of your school? And where you went to school.
Yes.
So if schools are not fostering a strong community or a sense of community, then we're losing our people. And I think schools have to start from day one. When they enter the building, it should start there with building that community and culture to say, you belong here, welcome, and that 1 or 2 days, yes, they're important, but not drilling down on them, trying to find out why and validating their feelings and their experiences of what they are currently experiencing to get them back into the building.
Love that, validating their feelings, because that matters. You know, when I talk to our young people, they say adults hear them, but they don't always listen, right? And I think that's part of what they're really expressing a lot of times is that they don't feel like their feelings are validated. So I definitely can appreciate that. And school environment matters. And so we've got that robust, thriving culture where every child has, you know, a loving, caring adult within that building, then certainly it's going to matter. And I'm just really grateful for the work that you all do. And I know you support all of our schools in a variety of ways, and attendance is just one. We've got Dr. Jordan here who's been sitting back in the cut waiting to jump into the conversation. And so one of the things that I know that we're supporting is just looking at how we work with our families and our schools when there are some challenges, right? Can you talk a little bit about some of the work that you all are doing, particularly around the Office of Student Discipline and Behavior Support? And I know this is our hearing office, but just explain what that title means and some of the work that's being done and how that might be a shift from what people are used to.
Yes. So our student hearing office, that's our centralized discipline system. All of our schools have access to that for expulsions, and a couple of years ago we added disciplinary conferences. So that was really the first kind of proactive strategy that was implemented. And through a lot of dialogue, we just recognized that we want to, you know, support schools as early as possible, support students as early as possible. So before an issue gets really large, how can we have that restorative circle? How can we push into the schools and actually provide trainings to the deans of culture, the assistant principals, or whoever is in need?
That sounds more like we're looking at prevention rather than intervention,
absolutely,
right?
And not just being responsive after something has happened. Absolutely.
Yeah, and I love the idea of restorative practices being a part of that, you know, because, you know, our scholars are going through so much, and, you know, when it's family related, it's, you know, things that may be beyond their understanding or beyond their control. And there's some work that we can do to help support them in what they may be going through and reconciling what they may be going through. And so that's an important step to look at prevention rather than just intervening when our scholars are, you know, already in trouble. And I know we've got supports for teachers and social workers and other staff. I know we've got the trauma-informed practices work. Can you tell us a little bit more about the work that your team has done to support our schools?
Absolutely. So, yes, we are trying to just increase the number of schools that have gone through comprehensive training for trauma-informed schools. So every year we are investing in getting that professional development for our schools, be it the social worker, another mental health lead, or administrator. Also, this past year, we partnered with MHSD to provide youth mental health first aid training. Again, having a goal of every single school having at least one person trained. So, just providing that level of support to our schools via either the social workers or whomever else is a really, really important step, especially as we talk about prevention, as you mentioned before.
Yeah, that's so good. And, you've been familiar with the idea of mental health first aid. The youth part was new for me. Can you talk a little bit about the difference between mental health first aid and mental health first aid for youth?
Yeah, I think the biggest difference is that, we're talking about a different targeted population. We're talking about kids. We're talking about their needs. And so it's just providing those educators who are engaging with our students on a regular basis the strategies that they need in the event, a student needs that level of support. Yeah,
that's so good. And I know one of the things that I love about our young people, they're going to tell you the truth.
Absolutely.
And so last year when we were doing Voices of Future Leaders and we talked about mental health, they talked a great deal about the things that they need, about how they feel around anxiety and depression and the supports that they already have. We have young people who started clubs on their own in order to really dig deeper into mental health. So before we wrap up, one of the things that I love to mention is a mental minute. And I want to hear from each of you, how are you taking care of yourself? What is it that you're doing to prioritize your own wellness? And we'll start with you, Dr. Perry.
I think self-care is so important, and the team hears me talk about that all the time, almost ad nauseum. I breathe a lot. I don't sleep like I should. I breathe a lot, and I need to take stock in Calm, the app.
Calm is a great app.
It is. And I've purchased it. I don't have the free one anymore. I had to level myself up. I've given myself a goal of going through all their breathing exercises. But really that. And a lot of positive self-talk and affirmations.
That's good.
It's just very important.
That's good.
Because we all have tough days.
Yeah.
And sometimes many tough moments in those days.
Yeah.
So we got to remind
being mindful
ourselves.
and breathing through is so important. And look, I'm right there with you on the sleep thing.
Yeah, I got to get better.
Do better. Got to do better.
Absolutely.
Yeah. What about you, Jaimee? How are you taking care of yourself?
Boundaries. Set boundaries.
Okay.
If I get off at a certain time, my phone is off at that time. And I try not to check emails until it's a certain time. So I have boundaries with people and things.
Yeah. You got to protect your peace.
Yes.
There's a saying that you have to teach people how to treat you, know. And I think that setting boundaries is a great way to do that. And it does give you back some time where you can take care of yourself and your family. I definitely appreciate that. What about you, Dr. Jordan?
Absolutely. So in an effort to destigmatize going to therapy, I am unapologetic about going to therapy. I have a wellness team, and I'm unapologetic about keeping those appointments and doing what I need to do.
Yep.
Then the other one is Pilates, and I've learned how to breathe a little bit better via Pilates. So those are my two primary ways that I take care of myself.
And I hear you're a runner, too. I mean, you were talking about it.
I heard that, too. One day.
Shameless plug for the Black Men's Wellness Day, since we're talking about wellness anyway, October 12th.
That's important.
And looking forward to seeing our men get out there and take care of themselves. But I'm loving that you're talking about the mental health well-being as well as the physical well-being.
Absolutely.
Because there's a direct correlation, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and so thank you guys for sharing how you're taking care of yourself. One of the things that I always say is you cannot give what you do not have. And I always like to encourage our team members to know that your work is important, but there is no aspect of your job that's more important than you. So thank you all for taking good care of yourself and for the work that you're doing for our schools and our community. For this month and beyond. I know you guys are super busy at the start of the school year, and especially as we gear up for September being Attendance Awareness Month. Then we got October, Bullying Prevention Month. So you guys have a very busy first part of the year. So please, please, please make sure you continue to take care of yourselves. And thank you so much for being here with us
Thank you for
today.
having
So
us.
I do want to share a few brief updates as we begin to wrap up. I want to remind you that I will be delivering our State of the District address on September 19th at 3:30. This will be live streamed on social media, including YouTube. And this is just an opportunity to share progress that's been made. Last year, did it in conjunction with the 1-year anniversary of my tenure. But this year, we thought it was important to share strategic planning updates and have a strategic plan at least a year in progress. So looking forward to that. Want to encourage everyone out there to practice the mental minute, and and just naming how you're taking care of yourself, I think is extremely important in terms of something that we can do. And you can always check out our social media for additional tips. And this includes whether you're talking about taking deep breaths, listening to music, and even just speaking with a loved one. There are so many different ways that we can take care of ourselves. And I'm going to go back to what Dr. Perry said about the sleep, because, y'all, that is so important. Before I let y'all go, is anybody getting enough sleep? Or has anybody figured out the formula for getting enough sleep? Yeah.
No.
Yeah,
No.
everybody shaking.
Not at all.
In the studio, everybody's shaking their head. We're working on it. We're working on it. And it does matter. And when we think about our mental health, it does matter. So there are apps for that too. And so maybe someone will find one that works really well and share that with us. I want to encourage everyone to please continue to follow us on social media. Of course, we're on Facebook, Instagram, and X, and you can watch or attend our board meetings, which are streamed on our YouTube channel as well. Also want to give you just a brief Leah Chase update. The Leah Chase School opened earlier this month. Started off with our first grade through fifth grade, and our kindergartens came the following week. If you're interested in a school visit or want to learn more, please visit us at nolapublicsschools.com/TLC. And we're happy to share information. We have been getting inquiries around making donations or partnerships with the school, and we certainly don't want to turn anyone away who is interested in partnering with us. So reach out to nolapublicsschools.com/TLC if you're interested in that. And then follow me on social media. I'm at Dr. Avis Williams on Instagram and Facebook, and at Dr. Avis W on X. And definitely looking forward to seeing you all out there. And I mentioned the fact that October is Bullying Prevention Month, so you can expect to hear a little bit about that, as we think about what the whole community can do to help support our scholars and families. Just like attendance and looking at this is a community issue. We want to ensure that we're pushing out that information around bullying prevention and being good models, being good role models to our scholars. That's one of the things that I oftentimes say to our young people, that they deserve a seat at the table and that they need to know that these are not their problems to solve in terms of us getting along and preventing bullying. But looking forward to engaging in that conversation. So, and if you all have any ideas of something that you would like to hear on Education Elevation, then definitely reach out, because we would love to hear from you. So until next time, remember to always take care of yourselves and each other, and I hope you all have an amazing day on purpose. See you next time on Education Elevation.